Welcome to Knowledge Crates. If you're new here, we're so glad you found us. If you've purchased from us before, thank you so much for your business. Today we're back in the box room. This is where all of the magic happens. We plan and pack and prep all of the things that go inside of our crates and ship them to families all across the country. Today, we're going to unbox the Explore the Environment unit study for elementary kids. Let's get started. Okay, so when your package arrives, it's going to come in a shipping box like this. Unless you order multiple crates, then we put everything in one big box. And then when you open it up, this is what it will look like inside. So we have paper bags. This is for a recycling challenge. 4M clean water kit. This has 3 different activities included, and then there was a couple extra materials that you needed to do some of the activities, so we went ahead and included them inside the box for you. We have 2 plastic cups, because if you need cups for an activity, we're going to send it to you. Also have paper earth collage roll, and then we ship the books and the paper packet in polys like this with labels, just to keep things a little bit more organized. And finally, we have the Knowledge Crate. First thing that we're going to take a look at is the book collection. So in this unit, you get 3 different titles. The first is The Wild Robot Protects. Such a cute story and perfect for this unit. If you're not familiar with this, this is the story about Roz, the robot, who is living a wonderful life on an island with a bunch of animals, and then an injured seal washes up on shore and tells everyone that there's poison in the ocean. Roz realizes that with her armor, she's able to go out into the ocean and not be affected. So she takes a chance and goes out to try and find out where the pollution is coming from. It's a wonderful read. It's a wonderful series. And actually, another book that's in this series is in our Woodland crate. The next title is Discover It Yourself, Garbage and Recycling. So this book talks about a bunch of different ways to recycle different materials, paper products, glass products, plastic products. But throughout the book, they also have these little sections called Discover It Yourself, where the kids can do these activities at home. And these activities are in addition to the ones that we already have planned out in the crate. The third title we have is Activists Assemble, Save Your Planet. So this is probably one of my favorite books in all of our different unit studies. Not only does it cover a bunch of different topics like air pollution and climate change and hunting and food, but it also introduces the kids to different activists who spent their lives dedicated to each of these causes. We have a lot of different activities that we paired with this one. Next, we have the paper packet. So inside of the shipping box, you're going to have a poly like this, and this is all of the different papers. So mats or your activity guide, art paper, different cards, if they're included, will all come packed together in a nice little neat poly so that it's organized for you. Here we have the activity guide. We have a recycle I Spy. All of the mats like this as well are laminated so that you can use them over and over. We have a story mat for journaling activities, and then we have a large 8x11 journal. Before we get into the activity guide, let's open up the crate so that we can just kind of see some of the pieces that come inside, and then we'll go through the activity guide and I'll show you what pieces go with each of the activities. So when you open this up, the first thing that you're going to see is the thank you, and then I like to put a little something that just goes with the theme because it just makes it more fun. When you open this up, hopefully everything is not going to come spilling out. These are all the materials you'll find inside. First, we have this canvas tote bag. We have Earth Day charm kit. So another thing with Knowledge Crates, if you're new to getting our crates, we organize everything, all the materials in your crate like this. So for this particular activity, these are the materials that you need, and then we just put a label on it so that when you get to it in the guide, you can just pull out the pieces that you need and you don't have to shuffle through everything. We have the ocean spill kit. So the kids are going to create their own ocean spill mess with this little boat and these animals, and then use the tools in the kit to try and clean up the oil spill so that they get a better understanding of how difficult it is to actually clean up oil spills in the ocean. The Earth Day Oobleck kit. So again, everything is pre-measured, packaged, and labeled for you. We have loose parts. This is gonna go with a recycling activity at the end of the unit. The paper mache globe. So again, this is done in 2 different parts. So first they're gonna do it with newspaper, and then they're gonna go back over it after it's dry and use different colored tissue paper. So we've packaged everything and labeled it so they know it's step 1, step 2. These are the Play-Doh accessories. They get 3 different color Crayola Dos, set of whale cards. It's not just whale animals. There's manta rays, there's a bunch of different stuff in here. But each of these cards have a bunch of different facts, and then they match each of the animals. We have a pack of coloration primary fabric markers. These are going to be used with that canvas we saw when we first opened the box. Handscraft 3D wooden puzzle. The kids are going to build a sea turtle. And then we have the material bags. So any of the little pieces that you would need. A pencil sharpener, rubber bands, scissors, glue, a glue stick, any of that stuff. If you need it for the activities, we're going to include it in the crate. And when it comes to those little materials, we just put everything together in a bag like this so that it's just not all over the place. It's just easy to grab, much more organized for you. But if you need it, we're gonna put it in the box for you. So now that we've seen all the materials inside of the shipping box and inside the crate, let's go back to the guide and I'll show you the different activities we have mapped out and what pieces you would pull for each one of them. If you're new to Knowledge Crates and you haven't received one of our guides, I'm going to quickly give you an overview of what to expect with them. So on the inside cover, you're going to just see some general information, how many activities are included, if there's any extension activities, those type of things. Then on the bottom, you're going to see these colored buttons. These are the learning goal buttons. So each one of the activities we've aligned with different standards so that if you're using this as a homeschool resource and you need to know what activity fits into what different learning area, we've already done the work for you. In addition to that, in the shop on each of the products, we've also went ahead and listed out all of the national science standards as well as the Common Core. The first activity in the guide is the clean water science. So this is going to be the 4M clean water mini filtration set that they're going to use. So there's 3 different activities that the kids will do in here. They're going to actually construct this filtration system and then test a bunch of different things. The next activity in the guide is the Earth Day oobleck. So the only thing they're going to need for this is a dish, some water, and the oobleck kit. The 3D turtle puzzle is next, which is this guy here. And when it's finished and built, it will look something similar to this. The kids can use the paint to add color to this, or they can just leave it natural. The next activity in the guide is exploring ocean animals. So for this one, the kids are going to need the set of ocean animals along with the fact cards. Next, they are going to do the Earth Day charm. And this is another activity where we included the process and pictures. So all they would need for this one is their Earth Day charm kit. Moving along, the next activity we have listed out is the ocean oil spill. This is probably one of my favorite activities in this entire crate. So in here we have the oil spill kit, and we have this black oil, which is cooking oil and powder tempera black paint. They're gonna get a baking dish or just a large dish, fill it with water, and then they'll put in the ocean animals and their boat, and then they'll spray the oil everywhere. Use the tools to try and clean up the oil spill and rescue the animals and get everything back to the way that it was before the oil spill, which is not going to be successful, but it will give them a greater understanding to how dangerous oil spills in the ocean can be. We have Recycle I Spy and the Recycling Challenge. So this is what it looks like in the guide. We're gonna need the Recycle I Spy mat along with the dry erase marker out of the material kit. And then we need the set of paper bags because the kids are going to create their own recycling challenge at home. Up next, we have the paper mache globe. This is another example of how we lay out the entire process. So if you have a child that's working independently, they can just follow along at their own pace. And this activity is actually done over the course of a couple of days. So they're going to need a plastic cup from the crate as well as the paper mache globe kit. The next activity is a large project that we'll do at the end of the unit. So this is going to need the loose parts bag, which is these materials, as well as the knowledge crate. If you don't want to use the knowledge crate, you can use a larger shipping box, but you're going to want a pretty big area of cardboard because what the kids are going to do is pick an animal from the ocean, and then they're going to use different types of recyclable material. So you can cut up cereal boxes and use cut up milk cartons. This is just kind of a little bit to get them started, and they'll create the animal of their choice. So we gave them 2 different options down here. They can do a sea turtle or an octopus, or they can pick whatever they want. And when it's done, it will look something similar to this. The last set of activities will all be centered around the Activist Assemble book. So the first thing that they're going to do is have discussion times. They'll read through the book. They'll learn about a bunch of different activists and things that they stood for, and do a couple things with that. Next, they're going to design their own environmental Earth Day theme type tote bag. So they have the canvas tote bag along with the fabric markers, and Joelle actually made me one of these for when we were photographing it. So it could look something like this when it's done. The next activity is adventures in journaling. So for this, they're going to need the story map, as well as the dry erase marker and the pencil from their material bag. And then they're going to need their journal. So there's 3 different writing prompts with this. The first, they're going to read The Wild Robot and then create the story putting themselves in it. The second, they're going to use the glossary pages from the Activist Assemble book and create a story. And then the third says, choose an activist from the Save Your Planet book and imagine that you could meet them. So what kind of things would you discuss with them? What kind of questions would you have? Let's imagine you could spend 3 days working side by side with this person on their mission. Up next, the kids are going to design their own green home using their journal. Then they're going to go on a hunt for plastics and find all the different ways that plastics are used in their own home. We have a find out activity where they're going to look at different things in their neighborhood and find out what or who, if anyone, is using renewable energy. A grocery store hunt. So for this one, you're going to take a little field trip to your local grocery store. When the kids are reading the book, on page 20, they're going to learn about food and farming. And then for this activity, it says they're going to learn about organic foods and labels. How many kinds of organic foods can you find in your local supermarket? Is the labeling easy to spot and easy to understand? So they're going to do a bunch of stuff with that. The last activity that we have planned with the Activist Assemble book is called Get Active. So this is where the kids are just going to kind of step back and think about all of the different activists that they learned about, and then decide which one is most interesting to them and what are some things that they can do themselves that would kind of model after what that activist spent their life working on. And then the final activity in the guide is just another fun art. So it's the paper earth collage. For this one, they're going to need the paper earth roll, as well as glue from the material bag. And then when they put it together, it will look something similar to this. And that's it. That's everything that comes inside of the Explore the Environment Elementary Unit Study. Thank you so much for spending this time with me and unboxing it. Like, share, subscribe, come back in the future. We'll unbox another one. Have a great day. See you later.